Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Nintendo 3DS emulation with Lime 3DS. And Lime 3DS has a brand new release and also some exciting news. So at the time of filming, Lime 3DS 2117.1 is the latest update. In version 2117 here, there's a whole bunch of bug fixes and also something a little bit new for Android. A new About Game dialog has been added which replaces the Cheats menu. Cheats are now accessible through the Cheats button within this new menu. On top of that, and I think a lot of people on Android are going to be excited about this one, a version of Lime 3DS on the Google Play Store is currently being prepared, so be patient with this one and you can get it right on Google Play. In my opinion, this is very big news for 3DS emulation on Android, and I think it's going to make it a lot more accessible to a lot more people. Not everybody knows to go to GitHub and pick up an APK. Next up, we're talking about NES emulation with Go NES, or Go NES, or Gones, or subscribe to Mr. Sujano depending on how you want to pronounce it. And Go NES just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Go NES version 0.0.3 is the latest update. This one's got a whole bunch of fixes and optimizations. Now for those who may not be aware, this is a fairly recent emulator. I mean, the first release was back in March of this year. It's written in Go. I find this one very interesting, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below in the event that you wanted to check it out and learn more about it. Moving on, and next up we're quickly talking about PS4 emulation with Chad PS4. Now Shad PS4 just got a brand new development update here, version 0.2.1. And Bloodborne is looking a lot better. It's not playable just yet, but at the same time here, this is massive progress. I'll drop a link to Brutal Sam's YouTube video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. And on a side note, one of the most impressive things I see here is the FPS locked in at 30 frames per second. Again, this is just the intro video, this is not gameplay, but locked in at 30 FPS already is looking pretty good. Moving on, and next up we're talking about something that, at least to me, came completely out of the blue and was completely unexpected, and that's a movie adaptation of Eternal Champions. I'm not joking with you here. So apparently Derek Connolly is behind this, who is also behind stuff like Detective Pikachu and the unreleased Zelda movie. I'll drop a link to the article in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. I'm curious to see how this movie adaptation is going to be, and honestly here, I'm curious to see how the Zelda movie is going to be. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about it just yet. And as for Eternal Champions, the video game, it was released for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis back in 1993. It is a fighting game, and if you are curious about that one, I'll drop a link to this video in the description below, or I guess you could always play it in an emulator. Now, taking a look at the comments here, and this first comment hits the nail on the head. This guy must have been able to see the future. This game had a very creative story idea. Individuals from different time periods who were killed meet in the afterlife and battle it out for a second chance. Would make a really good movie or perhaps a remake. And speaking about the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, next up we're talking about the Homebrew community for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis. And the developers there are absolutely insane. They're able to push this system to its limits and continually get more stuff out of it, including here transparency effects. I'll drop a link to this tweet in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. Now, no joke here, this on the Genesis back in the day would have been absolutely unheard of. This is running at a smooth 60 frames per second, and we've got two kinds of transparency here. Very, very impressive overall. And speaking about developers and improvements, next up we're talking about Mesa drivers. And Mesa 24.2.0 was just dropped, and we've got a bunch of improvements, especially for some very big games. Now the changelog for this one is pretty huge, but there's better support here for stuff like Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2, Fallout 3, Starfield, Far Cry, Cyberpunk 2077, God of War, Borderlands, and even more. Next up we're talking about Vampire Survivors, and if you're a fan of this game, or if you haven't played it in a while, you may want to check out the latest update here. Patch 1.11, the Darkasso has just dropped. So we've got brand new content, 9 new extra achievements, 1 new challenge stage, 1 new relic, 2 new special character skins, 5 new arcanas. Now it's worth pointing out that this is a free update, and if you wanted to see the spoilers in detail, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. I'm not going to spoil everything for everyone in this video. Next up is a quick heads up if you're a fan of Until Dawn. It appears that the game's price may have just been leaked. If you are in the States, expect to pay around $60 USD for this remake. Until Dawn is set to release on October 4th of this year. There is no current price on Steam, and it does require a PSN account. Next up, we're quickly talking about Black Myth Wukong. Now, this game has been talked about quite a bit on the internet. There's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding it. And in terms of reviews, journalists were restricted from talking about certain things. So here's a look at their publicly available document. Under do's, it says enjoy the game. Under don'ts, it says do not insult other influencers or players. Do not use any offensive language or humor. Do not include politics, violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse. Do not use trigger words. Do not discuss content related to China's game industry, policies, opinions, news. Next up, we're quickly talking about Broken Sword Shadow of the Templars Reforged. Now, this game is headed to the Switch, PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, and they just announced the release date, September 19th. And speaking about release dates, next up, we're quickly talking about Star Wars Outlaws. And Ubisoft has just dropped the official PC gameplay trailer for this thing. Now, this game is releasing on August 30th. And the PC gameplay looks pretty good. And speaking about trailers, next up we're quickly talking about Mouse PI for Hire. Now, this game just got a brand new gameplay trailer and it looks absolutely fantastic. It's planning to release sometime in 2025 here. And let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I think we talked about this one a while back and maybe you've forgotten about it, maybe you didn't. This one is definitely on my radar and you can wishlist this thing on Steam. And speaking about gameplay trailers, next up we're quickly talking about Elements Destiny, which just got a brand new gameplay trailer. This is a 2.5D JRPG inspired by the SNES era. Now, I'm not really a big fan of the combat scenes here, but the overworld view looks pretty good. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Am I off base by not liking these combat scenes? I don't know here. Anyways, this one's headed to the Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and also PC sometime in 2024 or possibly even 2025, I guess. There is a demo on Steam available. Next up here, we're quickly talking about Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition, which is a fan-made overhaul of Silent Hill 2. And the release date here for this one is Friday, August 30th. So they say here that Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition is a project that makes the PC version of Silent Hill 2 compatible with modern hardware and displays, while enhancing the experience through updated visuals, audio, and features. Now, some of you may already be familiar with this project. I mean, it's been out for a while, but the final update is happening this August 30th. Next up is a quick heads up if you've got an iOS device and you wanted to play Fortnite on it and you're outside of the EU. Apparently here there are ways around the region locking here, and Saunders Tech has found a way. I'll drop a link to this tweet in the description below and feel free to check it out. It's very interesting that Apple has restricted this to the EU, even though I would say it's a selling feature for iOS devices. Now, I don't have an iOS device, so I can't try this one out myself, so I don't know how practical it is. And I don't really play Fortnite or Fall Guys or anything like that. But if you do and you've bypassed the region locking, let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Next up is a quick heads up here about Grand Theft Auto 3 for the Sega Dreamcast. Now, this port is currently in development. Someone is porting the game unofficially to the Dreamcast and making very good progress. And modders are also making good progress. They're already modding this port even though it's not even finished. I've got a hunch here that this GTA 3 port is going to be pretty popular once everything's all finalized. I mean, it's already pretty popular. If you played the GTA 3 port on the Dreamcast, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. And speaking about stuff in development, next up we're talking about something that's absolutely wild. This is called Mario in the Multiverse. It is currently in development here, and well, you can see it kind of looks like Doom a little bit, and it can also look like Katana Zero a little bit here. The gameplay is wild. I'll drop a link to this in the description below and feel free to check it out. You can see they just kind of switched over to Katana Zero. On top of that, Rovertronic also has a Mario in the Multiverse teaser trailer, and I'll drop a link to that in the description below. It's up on YouTube, and it's even got stuff like SpongeBob in here. Next up, we're quickly talking about GTA San Andreas VR. Now, if you're excited about this one, you're not going to be excited about this news, and you might be a little bit disappointed, or a lot disappointed. The VR port has been indefinitely put on hold 3 years after it was initially revealed. So here's the official quote from Meta. GTA San Andreas is on hold indefinitely while we both focus on other projects. We look forward to working with our friends at Rockstar in the future. And the gamer says it best here, it can probably just be considered cancelled. Now, I don't know about you, but I am super disappointed about this one, but also not surprised. I mean, we really haven't heard a whole lot about it since it was initially revealed. Next up is a quick heads up if you were looking forward toward Hollow Body. This game is releasing on Steam and GOG, and we've now got a release date. September 12th. Unfortunately, I've got no information on pricing on this one, but it doesn't have de novo, and I'm thinking it's going to be Steam Deck compatible. Next up here, I've got some absolutely huge news for you about the Evercade, and something that's probably going to help sell the system a lot, but I could be wrong. The Legacy of Kain collection is headed to the Evercade. It will be available this September with pre-orders starting at the end of August, and the pricing on this one I think is super reasonable, $24 or $25 rather. And taking a look, it's got two different games in it, Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, and Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Would you be interested in picking up an Evercade just because of this collection? But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and the one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.